little spinnerbait fish. Delaware River, tidal water. Hey, I'm Bob Murray. I'm going to do another show, Delaware Valley Outdoors. All right, let's catch some fish.
Delaware Valley Outdoors, your best source for fishing information on TV, radio, and the internet.
Ooh, he's barely hooked. I hope I can get him in. Barely hooked. Coming off. Oh, jump. Come here. Coming off the weed beds. We got a tide that's fallen. And we're catching some bass here on the Delaware River. The tide's fallen, and what I'm doing, I'm throwing a crankbait along these weed beds, and what happens, the tide is actually pulling the fish out off the weed beds, and they're laying right on those edges. That's a nice fish. And they're laying off the weed beds, so what I'm doing is I'm just going up along these weed beds here, throwing a crankbait. It's not a real deep diver. And just going to move up and down here. Now, I'm throwing a crankbait. You can throw a spinnerbait. I do have a worm tide on. We're just going to work up here. But now that the tide's just dropping, I want to start really concentrating on these edges. And that's what you want to be looking for, either edge of the pads or the edge of the weeds that are out here. We have like an eelgrass line coming up. So what you're looking for, especially now, this is like August, you want to be out into the main river and working on these weed edges. So what we're going to do is we're just going to shoot back up here and just work up and down with it, and we'll try to catch some more fish. What I'm doing is I'm throwing a crankbait right at the edge of this weed line that we have here. But one of the things that's important about this weed line is the fact that it has deep water right off of it. We're going from 3 feet right to about 9 feet here. So what's happening is the fish are being pulled away from the bank. They're being pulled right out to the edge of this weed bed because they have basically what they need here. And that's cover the weed bed. They just back themselves into the weeds, and anything that's going to go swimming by, boom, they can come out and attack it. So the other part is that they have this deep water so that if they have to escape, the flight and fright thing, they go right to deep water. So when you're looking for a weed bed, look for one that has that deep drop off in front of it, which is really important. I don't care if you're going to a lake, a river system, but that's one of the most important things with the weed line, is to find where a channel or some kind of deep drop off is located really close to a set of weeds, either a weed bed or what we have here is a great big weed line of eelgrass, and you just want to work it. And one of the things that a lot of people don't like to do, number one, is that you're always getting a lot of weeds on your treble hooks, and it really is a pain sometimes to do it, but it's well worth it. The other thing that you want to do is you want to work this weed line down, work it back up, work it down, because these fish move in and out, and that's one thing that I think a lot of guys overlook, is that they hit a spot and then they take off again. Stay with it. Their fish are going to be there. It just depends on when they're going to turn on. So the other thing is you have to have confidence, I guess, in a spot like this. So what I wanted just to remind you is that find a weed line like this and work it up, back, because especially in a tidal situation, the fish are going to move up with the tide, out with the tide. And again, the best times with the tide, when that changes from low to high, that first 2 hours going up, or from high when it's dropping, those are the important times. When you have that dead low, the fish are going to be rather sluggish. But as soon as that tide turns, it starts to churn up the water, it gets the bait fish moving, and the fish will start to turn on. But you have to stay on that weed line, because if you're running someplace else, it's not going to be there. The fish are here. They're not going anywhere. These fish have the best of all worlds. They have great forage here. They have great structure. they have the water conditions that they want, deep water, they're going to be here. It all just take your time and work it back and forth. Maybe change color crankbaits. I like a fire tiger crankbait, seems to do quite well. Brown crankbait would work well. I like a green, just a plain green with a black back. Anything that looks like the forage that they're having. Now here in the Delaware River, we have shad, alewives, all kinds of perch, that kind of stuff. So you want to match that. So that's what the bass are going to be feeding on in here. Stripers, a lot of stripers in the river. Silver crankbait. They like that silver because the herring and the shad come down here. You're going to have that color. Blue back, silver sides, anything like that. Now the water temperature we have here, it's warm, it's August, so the fish aren't as aggressive as you might seem, but they're still going to feed up, especially when the tide's turning. Now we get a little bit of tide moving here now, and I'm waiting just a little bit more because I want to get to the tide. You can make long casts. You know, I like to make a shorter cast. It seems a little bit more control for me, but it doesn't really matter. A lot of times I just pick apart these weed lines too. If you see a little hole, you throw into that. A lot of times they're not even, so you might have a little kick out part here, a little shallower part where it drops off again. The fish will move out on that little point. But again, it's just little subtleties that you want to look for. Cast back up, bring your bait down. A lot of times when I'm fishing by myself, I can really get close to the bank and almost parallel cast it rather than perpendicular. But I like perpendicular. That seems to be okay because that's only a strike zone is basically, I'm going to say, 1 to 3 feet. I mean, that bait is going to go right onto those weeds, shoot down, and the fish is going to have it. The fish is going to chase it out here too far. So you got a real short strike zone, so you really don't have to make a huge long cast, but you just want to put it right on the weeds. That's the most important part of it, though. We'll be right back with more Delaware Valley Outdoors right after this.
You can hear the beep a little louder.
The JATES program has helped me so much in the outdoors.
For a long time, I didn't even know what conservation even was. I want to do my part for wildlife. I love being a JATE. Whether you hunt or not, the JATES program has something for everyone.
I know I'm doing my part for wildlife. I really believe children hold the key to the future of wildlife.
And NWTF believes it too.
You can refuse to be a victim, and we can help. Call now about the I Refuse to Be a Victim safety course from the women of the NRA. It's not about guns or joining the NRA. It's about planning your own personal safety strategy. Call now.
Wild Turkey Woodlands program provides materials. It provides a seed program, also technical assistance through their biologists. The land has been here for eons. It's only mine and my family's for a short period of time. We're the managers and the caretakers of it. That takes into account our way of life and our interest in our hunting heritage. And the Wild Turkey Woodlands program is the greatest conservation habitat development program of any conservation organization in this country.
NRA for your free gun-safe educational book at 1-888-4-EAGLE-4. That's 1-888-4-EAGLE-4.
When you're throwing a crankbait up against these weeds, one little trick that I always like to do is just throw the bait, crank it down, and then just pause. Reel it and pause. And what that does, it just stops the action of the bait, and a lot of times it's a reaction strike you're going to get from the fish. So you want to just, again, just pause it, cast it out there, get it right to the edge of the weeds, bring it through, pause it, bring it down, pause it. And what that does, that bait, especially on a crankbait, when you pause it, it slowly starts to rise. It actually kind of backs up a little bit. And a lot of times that's what triggers the strike. It's not so much the bait when it's moving, it's actually the pause. And it turns into a lot more fish that way. And also when you're going through here, don't be afraid to rip the bait through the weeds. And once you rip it out of the weeds, again, pause it, because that'll do it. Because if the fish has got something happened, what am I looking at? All of a sudden something comes bursting out of the weeds, fish goes, boom, he's right on it. Doesn't know what it is, but he's going to check it out, and hopefully it's your bait. So again, I know this is time consuming with the crankbait in the weeds, but it's well worth it. In tidal water, structure is like everything. And you really want to pick out pieces of structure that will hold fish, whether it be high tide or low tide. We talked about the weed line holding fish near deep water, but now what we have, there's just a bunch of old barges and docks and stuff like that that have fallen, but out in front of it you have deep water. At high tide, that'll be completely covered by water, because we have about a 6-foot tidal change here in the Delaware. So all of this will be covered, and what the fish will do, they'll just move up onto that, because the bait fish will move up into there, and the big fish will move up into there too. But you want to check these places out at low tide to make sure that at low tide you still have deep water in front of them, because that's what's going to attract the fish, and that's where you're going to find your better fish off of these. Again, you see what we have here? We got metal, we have wood, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be pitching baits up against that stuff. So you got to use pretty good tackle, heavy tackle. So you want to check your line a lot, because you're going across that metal, there's spikes, all the rough edges of the logs and the wood. So you're going to use heavy pound tests, 17, 20 pound tests, like I said, and you're going to check it, because that's where you have to throw your baits. Heavy rod to get it in there, because you're going to have to get that fish out. You don't want that fish back in there, because as you can see, there's all kinds of stuff that'll break you off. So you really want to have some heavier line when you're pitching here. Most of the time you're going to throw at least 17 pound test. When you're pitching jigs, you can throw crankbait in here when the tide's high. You can throw crankbaits and it'll bounce off of that stuff. You're going to lose some baits, let's face it. But you want to really look for structure that has that deep drop off in front of it. And again, you can see what we have here. It just makes itself available for fish. When you have structure like we have here, all these pilings, and what we have is they put boats in here, so we have a deeper hole. How to fish it, we really want to take this apart pole by pole by pole, because the fish may be on the 3rd post, the 5th post, you don't know which. So you don't want to just make 1-2 casts in here. You want to really pitch your bait, and I'm throwing a little baby brush hog here, and pitch it to all of the pilings. Each one, work each one. Now you could throw a jig and pig, a super sinker, anything like that. But again, you just want to pitch your bait to each one of these. Now I'm going to pitch it over here because I got the shady side. I'm going to pitch to the shade. And that's where the fish are going to move. But make sure you pitch to each one of the pilings. Start on the outside and work your way in. Nope, spit my bait. Come here, you little devil. What I did, we're going into this area where they put the boats in, and I pitched into this little bit of it here, because what happens is that, let me get the boat around, the fish are going to move off of this structure back to deeper water, and this is the deepest water that they have. So what they've done, boy, this is a good bite, they just move out And what I had done was just pitched it up into, boy, I got him right in the roof of the mouth. A nice bass there. But what the fish do, if you can see behind me here, at high tide, those fish are going to move up into this area here. You got pilings, you got rocks, you got this little hump, and all the fish are going to move up in there at high tide. But as they come back down, as the tide drops, they got to move someplace. So what they're going to do, they're going to move back off, and they're going to move into this structure in here. And I pitched my bait in there, and I felt something. I thought it was just maybe some of the cross members, but it was. The fish picked it up and was running with it and brought it out. So what you want to remember is see where that structure is and find the deepest structure off of that, and you're going to find fish. All right, let me go get another one.
NRA for your free gun-safe educational book at 1-888-4-EAGLE-4. That's 1-888-4-EAGLE-4.
Wild Turkey Woodlands program provides materials. It provides a seed program, also technical assistance through their biologists. The land has been here for eons. It's only mine and my family's for a short period of time. We're the managers and the caretakers of it. That takes into account our way of life and our interest in our hunting heritage. And the Wild Turkey Woodlands program is the greatest conservation habitat development program of any conservation organization in this country.
Mommy, what's wrong?
You can refuse to be a victim, and we can help. Call now about the I Refuse to Be a Victim safety course from the women of the NRA. It's not about guns or joining the NRA. It's about planning your own personal safety strategy. Call now.
You can hear the beep a little louder.
The Jakes program has helped me so much in the outdoors.
For a long time, I didn't even know what conservation even was. I want to do my part for wildlife. I love being a Jake. Whether you hunt or not, the Jakes program has something for everyone.
I know I'm doing my part for wildlife. I really believe children hold the key to the future of wildlife.
And NWTF believes it too.
Okay, we're here with the tackle box section of the show, and started off this morning with top water bait. I was using a buzz bait, and again, just a 1/4 ounce Durstein buzz bait, little copper blade. I like the copper. You know, a lot of guys like silver. I like copper, and I just put a trailer hook on it, just because of that reason, to get the blow ups. A lot of times you'll get that extra hook into them. You'll catch the fish. So when you're doing that, always throw on a trailer hook. Got a lot of weeds this morning, and it was hanging up a little bit, but I'd sacrifice that just for the mere sake of catching some fish. Another bait that we always got to throw when you're on the river, and that's a spinner bait. Now I like this copper tortoise shell blade, or a fat willow leaf as we call it, in a combination with the silver. It works really nice. 1/4 ounce chartreuse and white, you can't go wrong with that. I like that color. And again, you're just throwing it out there, throwing it to the weeds, letting it flutter, and bringing it back. I didn't put a trailer hook on this one today because there was just too many weeds, and I was pulling it through, so I didn't really use that one too much. We caught some fish today on crankbait. What we're doing there was just throwing the crankbait right into the weed line and just bringing it down. And just caught some nice fish today. Again, Fire Tiger is probably your best bet. Again, you could use a green with a black back, a silver and blue, anything that, the herring or the shad that are coming down the river. This is what you want. Obviously, this is looking like a crayfish. Any kind of crayfish color you also want. It's a small bait. It's not diving real deep because we're only fishing maybe 3-4 feet. We had those little drop-offs, and all I was doing was just getting it right near the weeds and just pulling it down. Worked really good. 10-pound test line, you wouldn't have any trouble with that at all. There's a bait that I've been using a lot lately, and we've caught fish on this again and again down here, and that's a Durstein Super Sinker. And again, it's hooked wacky style, Jersey rig, and it's just hooked in the middle. And I have just, I guess it's like maybe a 2.0 true turn hook on it. And again, you just throw this out with your spinning rod and just let it sink, and it just sinks so slowly through the water column. It's just a great bait. One little trick that I use, and that's to put a little split shot right here at the top, because these baits fall so slow that you need that just a little bit added weight to bring it down and get a little bit more control. So just take a little tiny split shot and put it on there. You'll do great. Another bait that I like to use, and that's a baby brush hog, and we've caught a bunch of fish on this today. And the color watermelon, I think watermelon pepper is probably the big. You can see that this one's pretty much tore up from the bait that we used. But I use a big wide gap hook here, big wide gap Gamakatsu hook, and that really, I think, really does the trick for me, because it keeps this bait in a good profile, but yet I get a big hook set on it. So I like that big wide gap. Do it. One of the things that I've been using this year, and it's a water gremlins weight, and again, it's not a slip sinker, it's a little inline sinker. You're going to put your line right through that and then clamp it with a pair of pliers. I've liked it this year because I can really, instead of pegging it or anything like that, I can really use it. And what I do is I just run the line right through it like that, slide it down to the hook, give it a little squeeze with your fingers, and then take a pair of pliers and just squeeze it on nice and tight. And then you have it nice and tight like that. And then your bait will just hang down like that, and you have no trouble with it. Works really well. Again, that's a little water gremlin thing. I've been using it, and I'm really happy with it. So you try that. If you don't want to peg your sinkers, or you don't want your sinker to slide like that, I've been doing that. Especially works really well when you're pitching around wood and stuff like that. It doesn't get caught in the limbs because it's almost one continuous thing, and you don't have to worry about your sinker falling over the other end. So give it a try, water gremlins. It's going to be a good thing. Well, that's Tackle Box. Let's get back to fishing. When the tide is going out and it's really dropping, you want to follow the edges of these pilings. The fish are going to go from the shoreline. They're going to work their way out to these pilings. So make sure that you pitch to each one of these pilings as it comes off the shoreline. Because a lot of times the fish will just move, as the tide drops, they'll just move to the next pile all the way down until they find a comfortable spot, and they'll do that. So just make sure that you pitch to each one of these as it's leaving the bank into deeper water. There you go, hold on. There you go. There we go, here we go. There we go. Come on. Come here, it's a strong fish. It's a decent fish. Come here. Ah. Summertime tidal water fishing, Delaware River. Hey, I'm Bob Murray. I'll see you again on Delaware Valley Outdoors. Hey, don't forget to visit the website, DelawareValleyOutdoors.com. Fishing reports, weather, tides, any kind of information. Hey, send me an email. I'll see you on the water.